Welcome, fellas. Welcome to this presentation. Today we got a special guest with us. About to bring him on in a second. But just so you know, the topic for today is how to establish a dominant masculine presence. All right, and we got a special guest who embodies this topic. All right, I found him on Facebook in one of the men's groups. And, when I saw this guy, I was like, man, just looking at his profile, I was like, yo, this guy, he embodies the things that I talk about in this group. You know what I mean? Being grounded in your masculinity. I talk about being able to express yourself authentically. And I talk about being a leader. And you could just see it in his profile picture that he embodies these qualities. I was like, he's a perfect person to be on an interview and get his insight. You can just tell, just from his demeanor and his profile, I could tell this is a man of experience. He's not one of those guys who's just gonna, tell you what he read in a book. Like, he actually lived as a man. He knows what he's talking about. So his name is Thor, okay? And this is our brother. Can you introduce yourself to the fellas?
Okay, we're a little choppy here, but hopefully that'll go away. My name is Thor. That's my real name. I was born with that name. I'm 58 and a half years old. I will be 59 in about 4.5 months. And I am living the effing dream. Let me tell you guys, I love it. Love life. My 50s has been the best decade of my life. I've been in the best shape financially. Woman problems are zero. And I love life. And I'm happy to share what I've learned in my 58 and a half years with everybody here today. And what I've been doing for the last few years, I don't do this for a living at all. I do this because my background is I came up as a power lineman, the guys that climb poles, fly in helicopters, land on these towers, put steel suits on, and bond on to 500,000 volts. I worked around men my whole life. And for about 5 years, I taught guys how to do this. Young men. There were no women. It's all men. And what I found is I have a deep level of fulfillment in teaching these guys how to be safe and not kill themselves. Unfortunately for me, in 1991, I was electrocuted, and you can see the scars on my hands. And it taught me something very valuable in life. Life can go like that. So I want to pass my knowledge forward. And believe it or not, when I was teaching these young apprentices, half of what I had to teach them wasn't about power lines. It was about just how to get along in life and create some goals and create the mindset to achieve those goals and to just have reasonable relationships with the people around them and how not to be a loser. That was incredible. So I ended up getting out of that teaching part of my career, and I work with other young men, about 56 crews that do power line electrical work. And so on Facebook, on Instagram, I was invited to speak on several shows. I believe you might be familiar with Rule Zero or Dude Party or some of the shows that are out there for my experiences in life. And out of that grew out some performance coaching. So I do some fitness coaching. I help guys get in shape at all ages, do injury avoidance. And just for the record, I've been married for 28 years in a long-term relationship for 30. And it is non-monogamous on my side. I have a beautiful wife who is my favorite human being. However, we have girlfriends that we entertain occasionally, do fun things with, and they're perfectly happy and compliant to do so. And they enjoy the flavors of life with us. Yet at the end of the day, I have a very good LTR, and I've worked very hard in the last 10 years to make it very, very good. And in fact, I have a course that's coming out on how to create a durable, sustainable, long-term relationship. And in part of that is what you guys might be interested in, is some of the information I use in that course. It's a 5-day course, and it's 3 hours a day. And I do a lecture series as I teach guys also how to create a dominant masculine mindset. And that's kind of it's something that most men overlook. They want confidence, right? You want that indomitable spirit, but many men do not get this in our modern schools or from the men in their lives. Many people are raised by single mothers. They don't have that father figure to demonstrate to them. So when they learn a few things about how to be a dominant masculine man, they get it from TV or they get it from the movies, where there's not a lot wrong with it, but you combine it together with a little social awkwardness, and now it's not working for you because you're that puffed up douchebag when you're in a social environment. So I kind of work on teaching guys how to take small parts of that and practice it like an actor, and then go engage socially until you perfect them, until you actually, when you enter the room, you're that guy. You're not the guy that goes and sits in the corner. You're that guy that says, hi to everybody, how's it going? I'm living the dream. How about you? How about you? And people want to engage with you. Super attractive. You couple that with a fit physique, the right kind of body language. You have that masculine body language, and it is very subtle. It's about eye gaze. It's about cracking that smile at the right place, It's how to engage someone with conversation, how to use pauses at the right time to make your point. And you do that when you engage socially, and your life will improve. You'll create a social network. And when you leave, people will say, yeah, that guy Thor, he's fucking cool, man. And you could do that for Trey. You could do that for anybody. But if you don't know, all you have to do is imitate those around you. And in our social media and our media, it's doing a huge disservice right now by telling young men that you need to be, act like really kind of like a defective girl. They're training you to be somewhat feminine. And feminine and masculine, they go together like yin and yang. But you still need that training as a man. Today, China is actually sending their men to masculinity camps. Why would they do that? Because they know that if you have a society of weak men, it's going to collapse. Men need to lead. And that's part of what I do with my training for the long-term relationships. I teach men how to lead in their relationship. And one of the biggest secrets is you don't tell the woman that you're leading, you just do it. They don't want to know. If you tell them, I'm going to lead this relationship, by God, we're doing it, they're going to resist. They've been trained in the social media. I'm strong, independent. But if you just demonstrate it, don't explicate it, they love it. And they fit right in place because it's their nature. Anyway, that was a long-winded introduction, Trey. What else you got for me?
Yeah, perfect, man. Perfect. So let's get into it, brother. Let's talk about how a man can establish dominant and masculine presence everywhere he goes, not just in his room when he's pretending to be masculine, or maybe around his friends, or how can he be consistently this way? What are some practical steps or advice you could give us on that?
I'm glad you actually asked that. I will go through. How about this? I have a lot more, and there's a lot more training here, but I've created a list of 20 that you can find also on my YouTube channel, which is The Dragon Ship. But I'm gonna go through it here so I can kind of explain what's going on. And what I teach is how to develop this dominant masculine presence for yourself. These are personality traits, but not necessarily natural to everybody, although they can be. So you can adopt these and you can practice them. The only caution that I tell people is don't grab them all at once and use them, because then, of course, you're kind of the creepy douche when you do. You're that guy that walks in, look at me, boasting. That is not what this is about. It's about subtlety and subcommunication, which women are very good at subcommunication. If you've been around any women in your life, they pick up on things we do not. So this will require practice. So work on practicing this basic list. Don't overdo it. Just pick one or two, guys. And for those that are on here right now, get a piece of paper, write them down. They're very simple. Everybody has heard time to time when you're communicating with a woman and you're asking them for advice, what do they always say? Just be yourself, right? That's what they say, just be yourself. Well, what the hell do they mean by just be myself? I am who I am. What the heck? They can't really tell you. But what I can tell you is you use this dominant masculine presence traits, that is what they're telling you. Be that man and exhibit it. That's really what they mean. So with that, keep in mind with a lot of these things, you can do it, you can attack these traits like an actor would. Look at yourself in the mirror. When you're looking, look at your face. Your face is going to be the first communication, the way you're holding your body. You're going to learn to smile very subtly. You're going to learn to open your eyes at the right time. You're going to learn to cast your gaze slowly and fix it. This will help when you're engaged in conversation to really let them know that you're powerfully interested in what people are saying. And that makes a difference, particularly with women. So now that you know that, you can practice a piece at a time until it becomes second nature. And it's kind of fun. You go out there with this and you go, okay, we're going to try this. Make up any conversation. You don't have to have an intent in mind. Just engage so that they're interested in talking to you and practice. What is rule number 1 in dominant masculine presence? In the corporate boardroom or in the club, self-care is rule 0 here. Self-care is being dressed the way you should look, having your hair trimmed, your head shaved, whatever it is, you're going to look high and tight. If you wear jewelry, whatever it is, you own it. You know, why do you think guys that are emo and look like little sissies get with these women? They own it. They own it through and through. So whatever your style is, own it. Self-care, smell nice, look nice, okay? Dress well as if you're always on camera. Number 1. Okay, so now the second part of rule 0 is in your mind. I want you to create this. You are the hero of your own movie. Everybody you meet on this experiment, it could be the biggest hero in your life. It could be Mr. Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth. Well, guess what? In my mind, he's lucky as hell to meet the real Thor or the real Trey. It's his privilege to meet me. I know this might not sound right, but believe me, it's right to have that in your mind. You are the hero of your own movie. You are not a non-player character. You're in command of this. So now let's get started with the list. Number 1, take up space, but don't be obvious. What does that mean? Okay, well, let's use the example if you go into the restaurant or club. If you walk right over to your table and sit down, you're not taking up space. Now, I'm not going in there all puffed up, but I am going to go in there with a very slight smile. I'm going to engage people with my eyes. I'm going to be slightly looking up, and I am going to walk around that club, and I'm going to, how's it going, man? I'm living the dream. My name's Thor. You know, I'm creating this presence, and I am taking up that space because I'm physically walking that space and speaking to people. Oh, I see you got that drink right there. I like that one. That was good, man. Right on. You know, don't be super obvious, just subtle. You don't have to do it for the whole room, just a small amount, get noticed, and then do what you got to do. Number 2, touch people more. When you're engaged with a person, what you want to do is you want to use some kino. Women touch on the shoulders, on the wrist when you're making a point. Ha ha ha, touch. They'll respond back, believe it or not. Notice even the leaders in the corporate boardroom will do it. They shake hands in a particular way, right? In my course, I'm going to teach you how to shake hands where they can never get advantage, even if they do this. It's a masculine move to do. You're not hurting them. You're just establishing dominance. It sounds silly, but it's absolutely true. So join me on that one. You're going to be amazed at what I actually do. It's simple. You're shaking hands. As long as it's not one of the fancy handshakes, just a normal one. Or if you're doing a hug, that's okay. It's pretty neutral. And then now the elbow bumps come in. But I'm specifically talking just any touch. That's a way to establish a connection, dominance, and you're not afraid to touch people. And you want to appear as if you're happy to do so. Now, don't overdo it or stare because then it looks creepy, right? And then the other thing is don't inconvenience yourself. When I say don't inconvenience yourself, I use an example. It's very basic. And just imagine you're at a place where you're all the way across the room and a few ladies walk in and you're eating dinner and you jump up and run across that room to do pull the chairs out for them. That might be a very nice thing to do, but you did inconvenience yourself. You were eating, you were over there. A man of prominence would not do that. Now, just to demonstrate the subtlety, Trey, if I was sitting at the table next to them, I might fold my napkin and then take the opportunity to do it because it wasn't really an inconvenience and I was just decided to do that. But if I had to run across the room, it's just subtle. There's a subtle line there, but don't inconvenience yourself. Someone asks you to do something that puts you in any inconvenience, no, you're not going to do it. Someone asks you to apologize and you didn't do shit, no, not doing that. That's what I mean by it. Okay, so when you're looking at people and engaging with them, keep your gaze slightly up. Like if you're looking right at the eyeball, look just slightly up. This is a dominance indicator. It is different cultures though. Be aware of that. In Asia, it's different, but here in America in the West, this is where it is. When you are speaking with somebody, be slow to redirect your gaze because you've already scanned the room. So if somebody's speaking here, you can just use your gaze, look slightly above. You can gently smile to show you're non-threatening, but you're still dominant. Always make yourself comfortable. I just saw a YouTube where I watched a guy get real comfortable, super masculine guy. His name was Cobra Andrew Tate. I don't know if anybody's familiar with him, but he was being interviewed. There was a lot of ladies there. He was comfortable. Now, he was leaning back a little bit, but he wasn't slouched. He was taking up space. His arms were like this. He was leaning, he was laughing, but you could tell he was moving. He was very comfortable. He wasn't stiff. He wasn't like this. That's what I mean by that. Number 6, he also had an open body language. He wasn't crossing his arms. He was touching when he spoke. Beautiful example. I'm trying to remember what podcast it was on. If you search Andrew Tate, he's kind of known in the manosphere, you could see when he's not angry and animated, he's just kind of being relaxed. You could see this in action. Keep that open body language, own the space around you by doing that, but don't, be as subtle as possible. Relaxing your body language is number 7. Don't be tense or emotional keyed up. You notice on my forehead, if I go like this, sometimes people will have this. I don't know if you can see it real close, or they'll do this with their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Look in the mirror. Okay. We call it in women resting bitch face. I'm sure everybody's familiar. Well, in dudes, it's resting douchebag face, right? So be aware of not doing that. And be aware when you relax that you don't naturally do it because it's easy to do. Don't forget, you're way above that. You don't have to look like a grumpy guy, okay? You don't need to unless there's a reason to. Everything you do with your body language, there should be a reason, okay? Maintain good posture. When you're sitting, sit up straight, head back. When you're standing, stand up straight, shoulders back. Suck your gut in. You don't have to walk like you have fake lats, but do what I said, do that and walk with purpose. Look where you're going, go. Don't stumble around. Now, if you're moving from place to place, that's fine, but walk with purpose. You can see guys that are walking with purpose, not rushing, but they're just, I'm not doing this with somebody to see which way they're going. I'm just looking where I'm going and I'm going. And if you have the presence, you watch this. This is an experiment. You could do this in a busy street. You do this, I look where I'm going. Even if I have my glasses on and my head is up and I'm moving down it, guess what? I don't have to do that with anybody. I'm not pausing which way to go. I'm going straight. No, everybody moves for me. They'll do that because they know the underlying sub-communication of the body. That guy's got a place to go. He looks like he knows what he's doing. He's prepared. And they just do, When you see somebody else that's dominant, acknowledge it. This is going to be right to the next one. This is important. Listen up. When you're seeing another dominant male, and I'm going to have you do this with everybody, you always nod up when you're acknowledging something. Somebody says something to you. Agreement. Do you see how I'm nodding up? I'm not doing this. Notice you go down the street and you see one of your brothers, right? To nod up to acknowledge. Do the same with everybody. It's a very dominant move. And that seems to cross all cultures. I went to 11 was still head up, shoulders back. The second part of that with your gut in is feet shoulder width apart. Okay? Don't put your hands in your pocket. When you're social. Right now it's fine, but when you're social, hands do not go in your pocket. They don't need to. Just hang, man. You're a badass man in shape. They don't need to be there. And by not being in your pocket, you're prepared for anything. Okay? And your feet shoulder width apart. You don't stumble over your feet. Some men today will stand in front of you and literally put their hands in their pockets, push down, and cross their feet. Do you realize how feminine that actually is and how submissive that is? Watch when you're out there engaging with people. Nope. Feet or shoulder apart. You're a man that's ready for action at any time. Even though you're relaxing and happy, it's okay. I'm patrolling my territory, and I'm not going to present a vulnerable position. Don't appear emotional or reactionary in public. This is a harder one because you're laughing with your boys, you have some alcohol, you can get emotional, but try to limit it to just that group. Women don't really like emotional men, and if somebody knows they could push your button, they're going to do it. Imagine being amongst a group of buddies, and I don't have any problem with this at all. But if they have a button and you have it right here, what are they going to do with that button? They can get a reaction, get you emotional. What are your buddies going to do, Trey? They're going to push that fucking button. They're going to smell blood on the water, you little fucking pussy. I'm going after you. And they're all going to gang on, right? Now, there's plenty of ways to handle it. You handle it just like a shit test. You're going to agree and amplify, move that shit out or redirect like it's nothing, even if it bothers the holy shit out of you. And that one right there, my friends, you take that one into a relationship because women are notorious for uncovering the armor on that button and going like that to get a reaction. And if you don't get a reaction, you are controlling frame the entire time, no matter what the fuck she does. Even if she goes to be physical with you, just, yeah, right. And then you just remove your presence. So that's something to keep in mind. That was 12. Don't appear emotional or reactionary. And then here's another one. When you're speaking with women or with men and the things start to get serious, lower your voice. Lower it. Speak with purpose. Be positive. Focus on the positive. Don't be a complainer. Make sure that you're seeing the lighter side of things, but use your deep man voice. It's very important when you're speaking. You can lower it. When you lower it and you're serious, I have eye engagement. The power of your words are huge when you do this. And people listen. They want to interrupt. Obviously, you have other things to do. I don't give a fuck. But when I speak, most people will listen. If they don't want to, that's fine. But you're going to use your man voice. You're not going to raise it up to where it gets up here. Oh my God, our team won. You can go, yeah, fucking A, Little things like that, you can paint a picture of yourself as the hero of your own movie. You're the go-to guy. Is it fake? Aren't we all living in a fake matrix anyway? I mean, Odin said something to me. My name is really Thor. My dad's name was not Odin, but it should have been. And here's what he told me. As you think, so shall you become, son. So true, isn't it? When you think you are, you believe it, and you take control and take action, you achieve it. It just absolutely happens. It's a law in life. Number 14, always smile slightly. Take assessment of every area you're in. Learn to smile slightly. It doesn't have to be much. You don't have to overdo it in cheese, but you can, that's enough. Nods. Use that to your advantage. Acknowledge people, ask them how they're doing. You can use my opener, which is one of the best openers I think ever because it works with women, it works with men. I can cold approach anybody with this as long as I can see their interaction and know they're not closed off. I walk up to them, how's it going? Trey, if I walked up to you and said, how the hell's it going, Trey? What would you say to me? How the hell's it going, Trey?
Hey, what's good, bro?
Yeah, man, I'm living the fucking dream just like you.
Hell yeah, bro. What's your name?
Are you living the dream?
Hell yeah, brother. I'm killing it, bro. Feeling strong.
Oh, man, what does your dream look like? Tell me, man. Tell me, what's your dream look like? You see how I engaged you? I engaged you, and I'm going to get you to talk about something passionate in your life, right? Now, if that person said, my dream, oh, shit, my dream doesn't start until 3:30, I go, well, shit, that's because you don't know the secret to living the dream. Every single person is going to stop right there, and they go, oh, yeah? What's the secret to living the dream? And I lean in with my man voice. I go, well, the secret to living the dream, Trey, is that nightmares are dreams too. So we're always living the dream. So if you were always living the dream, what does your dream look like? Boom, I'm in. And now they're going to tell me something they're passionate about. And I'm going to ask questions. That establishes dominance, but I'm friendly. And they're talking about something passionate they're interested in. I'm going to acknowledge it. They now think that I'm their best friend because they talked about their favorite person in the world, which is who? Them. And now I know about their passion. I have endless possibilities here. And with a little bit of indicator of interest, and a choosing signal, I'm in. I'm done. I'm going to go right into mode 1, and we're going to get along just fine. So if you guys feel you can use that opener, feel free, because it's extremely positive and works very, very well. Anyway, that was a little bit of a sidetrack. Back to the list, Trey. Be aware of everything. Slow to fix your gaze during conversation. Present a high, and when you do fix your gaze, fix it on one eye. Show them your intent, that you listen. Refrain from interrupting. When you do speak, use that man voice. And I'm going to tell you at the end why you're going to pause. You're going to use pause and cadence. And I'll tell you at the end of this list why you do that. Present high personal value. That's part of your self-care, with genuine humility, not self-deprecation. Never self-deprecation. When I say genuine humility, here's what I'm saying. Do not boast, but allow for discovery of your true value and skill set. If I'm in a social environment and I am in that conversation talking to that person, now, of course, I'm going to talk about their passion, but some people will say, oh yeah, man, I just turned in my Lamborghini. I had 4 Vets, and then I had a BMW, and oh yeah, the jet's here, and I got this boat, and I met Trey Morgan and fucking and Myron Gaines one time. Holy shit, I know all these people. That turns people off. Women don't want to hear that shit. They don't care about that. But if in conversation it comes up, yeah, might have had 1 or 2 of those type of cars. Yeah, Myron's a personal friend of mine. Whatever it is, let them discover the skill set and the traits that you have. When a woman or even a man discovers something important like that, like they find out that I didn't say a word, and yet I'm an extremely accomplished artist on the side, which I am, and I made a lot of money on it on the internet since 1999. People go, holy crap, I didn't know that about you. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't tell you about that. No need, And that feeling of discovery is quite an emotion in a man and a woman. And it's a good thing. It builds a lot of rapport. And rapport is important to dominant masculine presence. So you want rapport. You want them to like you, but you don't have to advertise it. Don't be boastful. Have some humility, and that's great. Okay, you allow them discovery of your true value and skill set. Number 17 is do not apologize unless you openly make a direct mistake. And that's fine. As a man, you should. Don't over apologize. Don't apologize for shit. There's no reason. You're the hero of your own movie. If you did make a mistake, then say this. Look, mistakes are made. I accept accountability and responsibility to make it right. Let's make it right now. That's it. That's what you're going to do. And that is respected, and people really do put a lot of value when that's done that way. If you over apologize, you're not genuine, and you certainly aren't masculine. So be thoughtful, but appear stoic in nature. When I say that, it's not being emotional and not quick to speak. And here's the final ones. Take a brief moment when somebody's speaking to you to ask a question or ask about your opinion in anything, and this includes even in a job interview. Take a moment, repeat the question in your head, be thoughtful, use that subtle smile, and then look in the face right above their left eye and answer, deadpan. Super important, because you get to collect your thoughts, make one hell of a good answer, and you're not going to come out with some bullshit like, oh, I feel like this, and give an emotional answer. No, you're going to sit there and say, well, in my experience, with my knowledge and the fact set and the reality-based system that I believe, this is what I think. You're gonna give a hell of an answer that's going to be highly respected and thoughtful, and they're going to go, oh man, that guy's a thinker. So give yourself that moment before you jump in and start speaking. If you pay attention socially, the people that do that definitely project a high value. The ones that can't wait for a person to finish before they interject their value or opinion, it's not very respectful, number one. It's not very powerful either. It makes you appear weak, like a puppy that's jumping up trying to get its treat, because you got to get in there, man. Don't be like that. Or you might be needy. You need to be right so much that you got to interrupt and interject. When you do that, you make a lot of assumptions about the person you're talking to. So if you can just take that brief moment, that's the final one. I have way more than this with more examples and some videos in my course, but that's kind of it. I love the fact that guys are starting to learn this, And it's really starting to grow through content creators like you, Trey, a young guy like you, just up and coming, really interested in this stuff. And for guys like me to pass that along, I'm pleased to do it, man. Your success is my success. One other thing Odin said is a rising tide lifts all boats. And that's kind of what Thor's all about. You can find me at www.becomedurable.com, because that's kind of what I'm all about, is taking men and women actually in by doing this and making them more durable. You become more durable, less stuff bothers you, you're emotionally stable, and you achieve so much more fulfillment out of life as becoming durable. One thing I learned when I spent 27 days in the hospital and had 14 reconstructive grafts on my hands and face, this can be taken in a moment. But you can always recover. It took me 7 years to get out of that financial hole, but you could do it. And that's for another story on another day.
Nice, brother. Excellent. It, because one of the main things I talk about in this group is being a grounded and masculine. So for you to practice, that was amazing. One thing or two things you touched that I want to see if I can get your insight on. One was code approach. You kind of talked about code approach a little bit, but I want to talk about, okay, because you gave us some amazing advice on how to be or how to establish a grounded, masculine, dominant presence, right? Well, one of the things I noticed is it's great to have those core qualities, you know, like the core qualities of being a grounded, masculine man, and then also to understand the behaviors and, you know, the character traits. But one thing I talk about is being a sexy archetype, because that adds like a lot. Like when you have the grounded masculine stuff and the dominance, and then you add that sexy archetype, like that flair, that uniqueness to it, that's when it's amazing. So that's one of the things I noticed about you right away, is that you obviously have the masculine presence, groundedness, but you added like an edge. You created yourself into what you said, you know, the star movie in the star role in your movie, right? I actually talk about that too in my videos. Like you got to be the star role in your movie, and so you have to create that. Like you can't just be walking around looking like every other dude. You know, you want to make yourself look amazing. Like you should, you know. I always say, like, if there was a video camera following you around, like you should be able to watch that video and be like, man, that guy is cool as fuck. Like I love that guy. You know, like that's what I want to be. Like you should see yourself that way. Like you shouldn't watch that movie back and be like, man, I wish I had, you know, I had my head up more. I wish I would have spoke up more. I wish I had better style. Like you should be proud of your character, of your beingness on this planet. So I'm interested in how you created your archetype. Like you say, okay, I'm Thor, but you've created your own version of that. Like you're not like the actual, you don't come off as that Thor like in the Avengers, right? That is actually pretty goofy, but you come off as like your own version of that, and I'm sure you created it. So I'm curious on how you went about that.
Good question, man. Let's talk about that. My name is Thor. My name was Thor before there was a Thor with Marvel. So who's really the original Thor?
Right.
Now, in my life, it's a funny thing. I was just like everybody else, but I had a good mother and a good father, and they prepared me quite well. I went into the trade, so I was in trades where there was no women, and there still isn't any women today. It's less than 0.03%. And there are reasons for that, and it's not their fault. There's some physical reasons for that, because of upper body strength and hip bone placement. But aside from that, I was around a lot of men. And men don't cut other men slack. You have to earn your place. So I was always pretty physical, stayed in decent shape. When I got burned at 28 years old, I was pretty devastated. I was a single father of 2 young children. I mean young, like 2 and 4. So I was raising those kids and didn't want to be home late. I was 27 days late. And I essentially put myself into bankruptcy, but I never went bankrupt. I had to pay back $100,000. So I went from zero, and I got back out in the market. I started to improve myself, and I always had a sense of I need to be different. And at first, that sense was very ambitious. I actually sat on executive staff for 6 years. I earned a degree in project management and earned my PMP. But cube life really isn't for me, and I ended up going back to line work. I enjoyed that so much more than the social interaction of being an executive and having to go to after-hour meetings and things like that. About 8 years ago, I really changed my fitness level. During the 90s, I earned a purple belt with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Academy. So I did physical things. So I knew about that. And I just, started riding motorcycles about 10 years ago, and I had a kind of a biker look. And then I just slowly, it kind of just came over me what I liked. I started to adopt my heritage from, my family comes from Norway, Iceland, 3 generations ago. So I started to adopt some of that jewelry. So it's important that men do wear some accessories occasionally. It's important women notice. And I started to dress a little different. I look really good in a suit, but I hate wearing them. I'd rather wear a nice pair of close cut jeans with a fitted shirt. I wear bracers, my watch all the time, rings. It's just kind of my thing. So I definitely created this look. And then because my name is Thor and I stay very fit at my age, it's kind of unusual. I'm very fortunately gifted to be able to put the work in and stay injury free. And that's another thing I teach. I do coach guys on staying injury free and getting aesthetic. That's super important, and it's a lifestyle. But yeah, a style is super important. I think you have to differentiate yourself, in particularly today, because of social media. It has widened the sexual marketplace to worldwide. And so the women of today have this global sexual marketplace, which drives most men that are average into invisibility. So you have to either have almost unreasonable confidence, money, game, or you have to have something that is different. I'm very big on shoes too. My shoes look fucking awesome. I wear bright red shit and crazy stuff. So, but here's the thing. I own it. Can you imagine another almost 60-year-old man with a Hawaiian shirt owning it like that? Probably not. But, he could own that damn Hawaiian shirt and have that look or suit and tie, and he could certainly do it in a different fashion. Add some cufflinks, tighten up the beard, do a different design. Whatever it is, I think it is really important. You mentioned, I think you probably really focus on this on some of your talks, is that style or archetype. It's something that if you can really make it your own and believe it and make it a part of you, just that energy creates that vibe, and it works. It just works with nothing else. And if you don't know what you're doing, shoot, you can do it. You can try a lot of different things out till you find out what you're doing. There's no harm, no foul. I mean, what's somebody gonna do? Snicker at you or call you a weirdo? Who gives a damn shit?
Yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. So cool. So it's interesting to see how you like I said, how you took the okay, my name's Thor, but let me create my own version. Like, I just think that's cool as fuck, man.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to talk about code approach. Actually, I had a question that comes up for me. I talk a lot about code approach because that was how I built my confidence and overcame a lot of my challenges in my. One of the places I don't have a lot of experience code approaching in is the gym, right? So you have some experience there. So I'm curious just to get what we advice be on someone who goes to the gym consistently and he's seeing chicks and he's like, okay, how do I make a move, or what's the best way to go about it?
Okay, that's a really good question, because there's a perennial debate that goes on. How do I game, or how do I approach, how do I do game in the gym? And there's a couple different philosophies. If you're in the gym and you're there to work out, get your workout done. I mean, you need to do your workout. Now, very few of the girls that are getting their workout done are there to get their workout done. I have actually trained with NPC competitors that have called approaching them, bikinis in particularly. And I know a few things that they're interested in, and I know how to look at where they're finishing up their routine. You have to be very observant. And I also catch them when they're going in and going out, and I always introduce myself to everybody in the gym. So it doesn't look unusual. I talk to people in the gym just briefly. Oh yeah, I like that. You're doing good, man. My name's Thor. Boom. Everybody knows Thor in the gym. And I go to 5 different gyms, and I got a home gym. So they know me. And when I made my approaches, I will wait until they're almost done, and then I'll make an approach. Since I have trained other women, I kind of have a way to talk to them. I'll already generally know their name because I've introduced myself. So I'll call them out, like say this one gal. Well, I'll tell you one where I didn't know the girl's name. Young gal was working on the back machine, obviously a competitor. There was a couple guys working on the cables next to her, and I was in there, and they're all kind of snickering like, Jesus, look at that thing right there, right? She jumped her phone, so I knew she was in between sets, and I rolled up on her. Hey, I have to talk to you right now about this exercise you're doing. This exercise I'm doing. I said, yeah, I noticed you have an amazing back. You have to be a competitor. I'm training these 3 girls, and I got to say your back's looking really good. Are you a competitor? She goes, oh, yes, I'm a competitor. And I showed her a couple of the gals that I trained in their backs. Look, I don't care whether you trained them or not. But I showed her, I go, you're starting to get close to this. That's really good. What kind of a routine are you doing? I talked with her for almost half hour, dude. Right. And she gave me her number because she invited me to come watch her compete. I was 58 years old. The guys over there in their 40s, she was 22. Her name was Dominique. So you could do it, but if I was going to just go to one gym, I probably would not do much approach. But I move around. So even if there was something to happen, which there has been, I'm also very mode 1. Look, I'm married. This is how it works with us. I think you're hot. I'd like to train with you. Would you like to meet us or this or that? And I've only had like one of them ever not like that. And the other one's usually like, oh, that's really strange. I said, well, we live our life. We love life. That's just how it is. I get a text. Oh, yeah, it might be nice. 2 or 3 days later, you'd be surprised how open they are. What they don't like is when they're doing their set of calisthenics up and down the green and you run over there to make conversation with them. It has to appear very natural. When she went for her phone, oh, and another thing, when she was doing her back, I showed her the pictures of the other gals. I said, you know what, do a pose. Let me get a picture of you and your back. And I got there with me in it, and I took the picture, and here I am with her, and I'm getting her back. I said, yeah, do you see her? Do you see? And I know the names. I said, look at your rhomboid insertions right here. I said, you're doing really good. How did you learn that? Now she's talking about something passionate that she has a passion for. Oh, well, I've done this, and I hired so-and-so, but I had to move to so-and-so. Now she's telling her damn life story. And she likes her life. So if she likes her life and I'm getting her to talk about it, she likes me too. And I pause at the right times. I don't get over awkward and over sexual right up front. I might make innuendos like, oh boy, the way you're working out here, I don't know. Is your boyfriend going to be able to handle? I don't have a boyfriend right now. Or she goes, yeah, but he's kind of like, he doesn't want me to get too much. I go, oh, I understand. It's all right. Just you work around it. But you'll get that sense very quickly if you interrupted at the wrong time. If you don't have something in mind, and you don't want to go in with something but something that she can relate to. It could be as simple as this. She takes her Beats headphones off, because I don't know why, but all the NPC competitors wear those damn Beats headphones and put a cap on. She takes them off and adjusts them. I say, oh, hey, you got those Beats too, right? Those Dre Beats. How do you like those? I was thinking of getting those for me working out. I noticed you have some. You could do something like that. Just throwing ideas out there, right? Or she's in the leg press doing the one where they're on the side and they're half in and out. When she gets off, I say, hey, does that work? I think my legs aren't in good shape right there. Does that really work well for you? Don't go to the one where they're doing the adductors spreading their legs. You're going to look like a dick, a douche. Don't do that one. But, something that's not obvious, right? Yeah. I'll tell you this. After talking to a lot of chicks in there, some of the young ones get a little pushbacky, but I'll tell you what, if you're willing to tap into the ones that are about 33 to 45 that are in there, they're hungry for that attention. Why do you think they're in there working out? They're trying to get competitive with their 23-year-old sisters. They want to hear from a guy that's got his shit together that you look kind of nice, What's your name? Even if they're married, they still like that attention. That's fact.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, brother. Okay, cool, man. So yeah, definitely give us a couple options there, a couple routes we can take. Um, one last thing, because I see we're on an hour soon. Um, how did you? Because this is like you're at a very advanced level when it comes to like relationships. Like you have a long term. You're married. You've been married for a long term, but you have the dynamic, which I actually agree with the dynamic you set up, where okay, you are able to basically have sexual relationships with other women, but she can't. She can't have sexual relationships with other men. She's committed to you. Um, Now I'm aware that's just not easy to create that dynamic. That's difficult to. How did you?
It is difficult.
How did? How did you set that up, man? I'm very curious, and I'm sure the other fellas are curious.
So in my course, I'm going to spend 3 hours going to every place that it took to do this, but I will give you a brief overview.
Cool.
Most women, if approached correctly over time, and will be like this. If she sees you as her best only option, then she would gladly do this and actually get very turned on by it. If she doesn't have a scarcity mindset, I mean, if she has a scarcity mindset that you are the best that she's ever had and ever will, she'll do this no problem. I know that's very brief, but to kind of describe the setup for anybody out there that's interested in threesome type stuff, because that's what it is. Okay. It's not girlfriends away from her for me. It's threesome. It's not a girlfriend I go spend weekends at for date. It's all of us together. Okay. Not that I couldn't do that. It's just what I decided to do. It makes it easier in the long run. But she enjoys a little of this too. It's not super frequent, but one of the way you might approach it is when you do this is to have a primary girl and be very mode one. Look, honesty is the best policy, but full disclosure is not. But be thoughtful of her feelings, but also engage her when she's aroused and make this so that she's aroused by the thought of it too. You're going to make it a fun game with her. And then when you initialize it, you're going to need a set of rules with her, and everybody's going to be different. So you're going to have to explore them. I'd have to spend, a bunch of time with you finding out what her buttons are, what buttons turn her on, what buttons turn her off, what her jealousy level is. And you can find this out over time. And you can do this with your girlfriend or whoever's the primary, but threesomes are definitely better if one of them's a primary, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason why is when you set this up and she's willing, you will select a woman. I know a lot of guys say, oh yeah, get a woman that's bisexual, go online, have her scan for women. Dude, I'm telling you right now, it doesn't work. I've been in the lifestyle. It doesn't work like that. But all girls like to be chased. So you're going to chase the girl, but you're going to pick your first one where she's lesser on the SMV than your primary. This is super secret shit, guys, because you need her to feel less threatened. She needs to feel secure that you're still that alpha. You can have both of them, but at least for the few times, it should be less on the SMV, and you should be mode one with the girl you bring in and make sure they get along and that you can be respectful. There's a lot of aftercare that goes with it. If you just bust your nut and you're done, believe this is not going to go well for you. You're going to have to engage these people. They're human beings. They're there for fun. Now, if you want to get further into this, there is such a thing as multiple marriage, and there's full-on living under the same roof. I have a close friend that does this, but he's also religious in nature. He's Islamic. It's Abu American, very good at this. He understands this, and he has multiple wives. I'm not there. That's not my thing, but this is just a fun thing. But you'll see that as time goes on, you need to engage in dirty talk with these girls. In mode one talk, you have to play with them mentally so they're comfortable at all times. So there's a whole series of things that go with this. Now, there's guys out there say, oh, well, I was in college and we just had drunk girls and we just did it. True, there's always going to be the one-off, but do you want to do this over time and do it with your favorite human beings and still be good with it and not jealous and freaked out? then you're going to have to make sure your primary is secure. So like my agreement is, at the end of the day, I'm going to be with her 100% of the time, always. And the ladies we bring in, they know this right up front. And if they want to be friends, they could be friends. It's not a problem. But there's some aftercare that goes up. We do fun things, but it's really kind of all about that experience. And don't do it often. And I'm always floating the idea out there to see which ones are interested. And believe it or not, there is an age group that is super prime for this. I don't know how well your readers are familiar with like some of the rational males theories, you know, Rollo's theories, but there's a group of women that age and they get past the wall and they get into their late 30s and mid 40s, and they're in this spot where they're in alpha rediscovery phase, and they got fear of missing out. And the fear of missing out is on all that party fun, and they want to capitalize on a guy, and they're rediscovering because they've gotten out of a long-term relationship because whatever. You'd be surprised how many women are completely okay with this if you do these two things. You know, you don't make the women compete or feel threatened with each other, and you just treat them with respect, and you're mode one with them. So three things. Mode one, you're straight up front, you set the ground rules. You would be shocked how many married women, boyfriend women, women at the gym that are down for this type of experience. You would think I'm making this up, and I'm not. And the overarching rule with this, and I'm breaking it by doing this on your show, is discretion. And that's why I go into it in 3 hours behind a paywall, because discretion is everything. I don't care how slutty these girls are or women are, none of them want to be publicly known as doing this, or they don't want to be perceived by other women like this. So discretion is everything. You can't go and do this and then advertise it on the internet. Look what I did, look what I did. Or tell her friends. You can't use language like, oh, this is a killer for your relationship. If you go down this road and you're not prepared and you're brand new, you're going to ruin it. You have your good girl here, you have the other girl here, and you say something like, girl A is your primary, girl B is the secondary, you get along great. If you tell your primary, you should be more like girl B. You might as well eat a bullet. You can't do that shit, ever. Even if you're not doing this and you're having a girl right here and you start pointing out her friends or people around you, you should be more like this. You should wear shit like this. You should dress like this. That is death. It works on their psychology and they become very threatened. So discretion is everything, respect, and mode one. So if you kind of couple all those together and over time, you bring this up while your primary is aroused, even if she's not totally interested, and then you have to be prepared for what the ones that will come back at you and say, well, if we do that, then I want another guy. I want to do a man female. What's your answer going to be, Trey? Well, she just threw out the shit test. Oh yeah, I'm down for a threesome with another girl, but we're gonna have to do it with another guy too.
With a guy?
Yeah, we got to do it with another guy. I want to be fair. She just threw a shit test back at you. What are you gonna say?
I just start laughing. There's no way. I can't even take that seriously.
Well, you probably didn't pass the shit test then.
You think so?
99% will do it. Here's how you do it. If she's going to throw that to you, you just ignore it like it never even came out. You don't accept the challenge or anything. They just want to know that they're trying to reestablish frame in that environment. So you just ignore it, move on to the next time she's highly aroused, get her in that mood with some dirty talk. Oh yeah, wouldn't it be fantastic if you were watching while I was just, and I'd be, and whatever you say, right? You can't do this when they're not aroused. You're working with the brain chemistry. Dude, this is a super deep subject. I would encourage anybody that really wants to know on the 5th day of my long-term relationship, durable, sustainable training, we delve into alternative lifestyles, both monogamous and non-monogamous. And we discuss the various forms. I don't judge. You live the life you want. I don't really care. I don't care if you want to do it. If you want to accept her challenge and say, yeah, okay, male, that's male, female's fine. As long as we do the female thing first, that's great. 90% of them won't do it. but 10% will. You better be prepared if you make that commitment. Yeah. Otherwise, you got to take a different approach. Maybe you're not in that long of a relationship with her. Screen her out earlier. Use the techniques you learn from me or somebody else and screen them out before you get there. There's plenty of girls that are wide open to this right up front. You know, bringing a woman that you've been with for, 20 years into it's going to be way more time consuming and difficult. But just the thought of it sometimes is enough spice that now she's banging you like she never banged you before, and you kind of got what you want. A woman that's giving you more sexual access, and it's spicy as hell. And you didn't have to go down that route, And that's one of the ways you keep it alive, especially with a long-term relationship. Sex is the glue, and it gets old. Sure, you've heard of the 7-year itch. All that stuff comes up. I teach you how to avoid all of that in that course and what to look for. I have a definitive behavioral analysis. It will give you a lot of indicators in day-to-day behaviors. This goes way beyond red flags. When you're way past the red flag spot with your gal, there's day-to-day behaviors. What if she's exhibiting subtle, contemptuous speech? What if she's correcting your English in front of others in a social environment? You have some things to think about, and I show you how to define those. And when that happens, there's actions you have to take. And that will correct the course, because all women want their man to lead in the relationship. And here's the thing. Today's woman, they don't know how to be submissive. I can't just tell her to be submissive because that offends her, because everybody's taught her that's the horriblest thing in the world. No, it's not. I mean, it's really essentially a cooperation with enthusiasm. When that happens, beautiful things can happen. You could build empires together. I'm a testament to that. And there's many men out there that are. And it's an amazing thing. Could I lose my favorite human tomorrow? Yes, I could. I'm very aware of that. We actually have a plan. If it all failed tomorrow, we have it laid out. We've had our issues. We've overcame them. And believe it or not, we each handle our own finances. We are independent in certain areas, but we are tied together as one in most. But we're also adult human beings, so we take our adult role very seriously. And part of that is, working together in the relationship. I lead it, and she will subtly nudge me if I'm off base, and I'll have to think about it and respond. But I do lead the relationship, and she's actually very fulfilled for me to do so. The more I do it in that form and not, act degrading and like I'm controlling her, I don't have to. I'm just commanding. And it's not in a bad way. I'm a magnanimous leader, not a tyrant. And she's very fulfilled to accept it that way. I'm getting into the LTR stuff, but believe it or not, it really ties in if you want to live this lifestyle. It's something you're going to create over time.
Got you, brother, man. So much insight, so much value. I appreciate you coming on. Can you just give us information on if we want to get in contact with you, check out your, where do we find you, bro?
Sure, man. You can find me at becomedurable.com. There's descriptions of the course there. I'm available on Gumroad. I offer several products there. I offer a monthly mastermind webinar where it's just men only, like us, hold each other accountable for becoming better versions of ourselves. We leave our judgments at the door and our egos at the door, and we work on self-improvement and group improvement. We discuss things like this in such a way that would be highly offensive publicly, so it's very private. It is called The Dragon Ship, and it starts on July 13th. It's a 2-hour webinar with an hour of questions, and it happens on the second Tuesday of every month. Very reasonable. You can buy it in 1-month increments, or you can buy it in 3-month increments and save a ton of money. Also, I'm offering hourly coaching calls on relationships, LTRs, or I can do the fitness thing. We'll start you from ground zero. You don't even need a gym, and we'll get you at those abs and get you looking great and feeling good too. The thing about me is I'm all about injury avoidance. Therefore, you're going to adhere to it and you'll stick with it as a lifestyle. That's available there. And of course, the flagship is the flagship course, which is durable, sustainable, long-term relationship training. But I got to tell you, it's way much more than that. but it's intended for guys that want to save their relationship, save their marriage. I know this is going to be cliche, but if you want to get your girl back because it's fading, this is where you're going to need to do it. You're going to need to get into a deep psychological game. You're going to have to draw some plans. You're going to have to step up and lead. In that, you're going to self-improve like you wouldn't. It's really would help every man out there be able to understand how to communicate better with women, because women communicate in feelings, and that makes it difficult for us because they communicate in feelings. So for us, we need to really stop and think, not just hit them with brutal logic, but it's to our advantage, because if they think in feelings, we can set those feelings up, and then it's like knocking down dominoes. But if you don't know, it's going to be very difficult. This is a 5-day course. It's all done in webinar. It's all private. It will not be recorded because of discretion. There's a lot there. And it'll start on July 5th through the 9th. You can pre-order now, but enrollment opens on the 28th of this month. Is open for 5 days. You can sign up on becomedurable.com. Just go to contact us. Give me your email. I'll let you know.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you so much for coming on, sharing this value, this insight with us, all your years of experience, wisdom, and all of that, man. And thank you to the fellas for watching. I'll see y'all on the next video. Thanks, brother. Peace.
Thanks, Trey.